2, 3. Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. This is not good. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, good. 1, 2, 3. Up. Boom. All right. Okay. It's good. Today we are going to talk about something law-related. It's what I call post-litigation cynicism.
Post-litigation cynicism.
And it's the idea that after having done litigation for any extended period of time, where all you see in life are the things that go wrong and you interact with the people when those things are going wrong, you lose the ability to understand how things can ever go right because all you can end up seeing is how things can or will go wrong in the future. Okay, what are we doing, guys? You, sir. Maybe time for a nap. Are you tired?
No.
You want to have a nap?
No.
You want to go out for a walk? Yeah? Let's do it. Are you asleep yet? Oh yeah, he's asleep.
No.
Oh, sorry. Generally speaking, law breaks down into two big categories: commercial law and litigation. Barrister and solicitor in other jurisdictions, basically advisors or fighters. Although if you ask any litigator, they will tell you that the only real law is litigation. Litigation is when people sue each other. Everything else is before mergers and acquisitions, structuring deals, drafting contracts. Litigators come into play when the proverbial stuff has hit the fan, nobody's getting along anymore, and they are either on the verge of suing each other or in fact suing each other. So litigation is basically like the military aspect of the overall legal infrastructure. Litigators are little soldiers, little mercenaries. You can always find one to fight for you and argue what you want. You just have to give them enough money. It's a little cynical, but this is called post-litigation cynicism after all. Let's take the example of a due diligence gone wrong. Somebody buys a company. They discover that the vendor lied about their receivables, exaggerated on their receivables, or even fabricated their receivables so they could sell the company at a higher purchase price. By the time that file gets to a litigator, no one's talking to each other, everyone believes the other is lying and of bad faith. Everyone involved in the file is trying to cover their butts or cover their tracks. Everybody is defensive, stressed out, and don't be fooled, lawyers are not mediators. They are representatives to fight for the person and not to act as a mediator to try to find a solution between two people. You look at the situation and you wonder how it is that businesses can actually ever survive. To simplify this post-litigation cynicism, imagine being a divorce lawyer. You spend the better part of your life fighting over ugly divorces, and then you walk out and you say, how can anyone actually have a successful marriage? Some of you might be saying to yourselves that I'm being overly cynical. After all, half of all marriages don't end in divorce. First of all, this video is called Post-Litigation Cynicism. It is about the cynicism that I unfortunately feel in my spirit after 10 years of watching people fight day in and day out. And what have I learned from it? I got married, so I did not learn to not get married. A lot of people think just draft the tightest contracts you can ever draft so that way you'll avoid a fight. Draft a prenup that's 50 pages long, covers everything and anything. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Longer is not necessarily better. The more stuff that's in there, the more stuff there is to misinterpret. My father has been a litigator for over 50 years. He brought us up saying, don't let your fears get in the way of success, but not in that sort of cliched like, don't be afraid to succeed. He said, protect yourself at all times when you get into a venture. Protect yourself at all times from your partners, from your adversaries. Make sure you set things up that you have an exit plan and that you're protected against potential wrongdoings. My problem at this point of having done 10 years of commercial litigation is I can always see new ways of getting around whatever protections have been set up. Some will call it cynicism, some might call it trauma. I unfortunately just call it realism. At the end of the day, you can't protect yourself against the deceit and evil intentions of people around you. You just can't. You can draft a 50-page prenup. At the end of the day, if you're gonna have a messy divorce, that prenup is not gonna protect you from a messy divorce. Clients would always come up to me and say, draft me a bulletproof lease, I don't want any fights. You can never draft a bulletproof lease because the lease itself can be called into question regardless of how bulletproof it is. One person didn't get legal advice. One person was not of sound mind when they signed the lease. I got married despite the fact that 50% of marriages end in divorce. I'll get into business. The lesson and the takeaway is not don't do things. The lesson and the takeaway at the end of the day is you're not doing business with contracts. You're doing business with people. And more important than any of the most tightly drafted contracts in the world is doing business with the right people, more so than even having a contract, more so than anything. Doing business with the right people is more important than any contract any lawyer can draft you for any price. Same thing with marriage. Finding the right person to settle down with for the rest of your life. So that's it. So the post-litigation cynicism. I look at everything and see how it's going to go wrong. Sometimes it changes my behavior in a way that is not necessarily beneficial for financial success. It might be beneficial for avoiding conflict because you can't actually fight with people if you don't get into business with them. There's a middle ground in there. I may or may not be able to find it, but you don't do business with contracts, you do business with people. Pick your people well, and the contracts are secondary. Important, but secondary. Farewell and peace out, and boom. By the way, requisite legal disclaimer, nothing in this video constitutes legal advice. If you have any questions, consult with a lawyer. Many lawyers would highly disagree with everything I said in this email. Email? Wow, I'm crazy. Okay.